The conversation did not go very well at all, but I uploaded the conversation so that I could kind of see what went wrong. The app was like, when you ask a question like that, it kind of feels like an interrogation. You're not really operating in like a collaborative way. So I immediately integrated that strategy. Every time that's come up since, almost, I think of that specific teaching moment. It's a way more natural flow in the conversation. The person has their guard down more, and it's just a lot smoother. My focus right now is not making the most money possible. My focus is trying to learn how to sell. Instead of just going out and only by trial and fire and trial and error learning, the app is actually directing me specifically on those conversations and teaching me in that way. Sales coach really is pushing to get a follow-up, get a specific follow-up time, make it very clear in your mind and in their mind when you're going to be speaking with them next. And that's been really big too. I describe it as it's an AI sales coach. You can record live transcripts, put that into this AI sales coach, and it's basically going to give you advice on things you did right, things you did wrong, ways that you can improve.
I've got a few questions here, but honestly, like I'm also just like excited to get some like feedback on the app, like how you're using it, how it's working for you. So one of the first questions that I have here is just like how has it been going door knocking with the Knisley Bros?
It's been going really well. I think every day is pretty different. Some days it feels like I'm the greatest salesman on the planet. And some days it feels like I need to find a new job. You never quite know what you're going to run into, but it's fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning I feel like I'm learning faster than I expected to be learning.
And what do you think that's because you just had so many at bats, like so many chances to have conversations, or what is it that's causing that rate of learning?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. I actually probably expected to have more conversations than I have just because I've been knocking pretty rural areas. And so it, in some ways, it's less conversations than I've expected to have. I think the learning has come pretty naturally, maybe a little bit more naturally than I expected. Part of that is from skills I built up from other jobs and like from doing other like customer service style jobs, because I feel like sales and customer service has a pretty big overlap. Especially like, I also think it should. I think sales and customer service should have a lot of overlap where you're trying to help someone and you're trying to make their life better. And I think that's really important in sales and customer service. So that's part of it. And then the app has also been super helpful. I mean, it's crazy helpful. I use it. I use it a little bit sporadically, actually. Like I mentioned to you before, like some days I record like every conversation, and then some days I don't record a single conversation. And I haven't quite figured out why I do that. I think part of it is just kind of like laziness sometimes. I just am like hurried, or I'm trying to just kind of get to the next door, get to the next thing. But the app has been really helpful for me because I'm not making a ton of money at this job. And it's very much like I consider it a learning phase in my career, where I can make decent money, but really my focus right now is not making the most money possible. My focus is trying to learn how to sell. And so instead of just going out and only by trial and fire and trial and error learning, the app is actually directing me specifically on those conversations and teaching me in that way.
Mm-hmm. And so you're currently using the app mainly for uploading transcripts of your recordings. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
And what kind of feedback are you getting is there an example like that comes to mind where you had a sales conversation, you uploaded it, you got some feedback, and then it changed how you handled the next door or the next conversation?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the ones that pops into my mind right away is a lady said, okay, so I had received some advice on how to handle I needed to talk with my husband situation. I think it was from a book I read. And the strategy they presented was well, you should ask, what if your husband says no? And then they'll say, oh, well, then we probably won't buy, or something like that. And then you could say, okay, would he have a problem with the product or the price, or what would kind of the issue be, you think? And then you're kind of getting back to the issues. So I did that I kind of tried that strategy in a conversation while the app was recording. And then I uploaded the conversation into the app. The conversation did not go well. The conversation did not go very well at all. But I uploaded the conversation so that I could kind of see what went wrong, what I was doing. That it just didn't feel very natural. And the app was like it. When you ask a question like that, it kind of feels like an interrogation, and it's not. You're not really operating in like a collaborative way. And so the app recommended, instead of like interrogating almost, you should be a lot more on their side and say, that totally makes sense. What is some questions or concerns that they might have, just so that you're totally prepared for that conversation. And so I immediately integrated that strategy. And every time that's come up since, almost, I think of that specific teaching moment. And it's a way more natural flow in the conversation. The person has their guard down more, and it's just a lot smoother.
I love that. That is cool. And to now have this in your back pocket, to anytime that objection or that type of objection where there's some other decision maker, just like puts you in a position to be more helpful, right? That idea of customer service and sales coming together. Like, how can I be on their team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
And another big one.
Very cool. Okay.
Another big one was getting like specific follow-ups. I was not doing that at first. I was letting things go when I could have easily scheduled a specific follow-up where someone has at least a little bit of interest, but they want to talk to somebody, or they, like, for some reason, maybe they just have something against buying something immediately or buying something on their doorstep. Sales coach was really pushing to get a follow-up, get a specific follow-up time, make it like very clear in your mind and in their mind when you're going to be speaking with them next. And that's been really big too.
Mm. And that's something you've incorporated then into your sales process, where when you leave a door, both you and they know what that next step is.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And what else? What other ones are coming to mind?
Honestly, I think those are the biggest two that pop up right away. I'm sure there are more if I would think about it longer, but those are kind of the big ones that pop up.
So currently in your role as the door-to-door salesperson for Knisley Brothers, on the residential side of things, like, you're kind of making the playbook, right? You're building it as you go while also trying to learn this skill called sales. When you were thinking about, like, when you had an opportunity to join this role, before we had talked about Sales Coach Pro, how were you thinking about preparing yourself to do this?
It's a great question. Mostly what I was doing to prepare myself was I was reading, listening to audiobooks, trying to prepare myself in that way. But I was definitely a little bit anxious to actually, like, get into a conversation. It was tough for me to prepare for what a real life situation was going to feel like. And I tried a little bit, like, with like ChatGPT, like voice chats to like role play. And it was just, I felt like I didn't have a good way of predetermining what these conversations were going to feel like. And that led to just kind of a little bit of anxiety about, like, actually getting out on a doorstep, like figuring out what it was going to be like. Cause it felt like a total shot in the dark. And so in some ways I feel like I was preparing for the wrong conversations because I just didn't know what to expect.
And so how do you feel like something like Sales Coach Pro, being that, like, coach alongside you, does that just give you like a level of security and confidence as you're training and learning this skill?
Yeah, for sure. It would have been super helpful if I would have started sooner on it. Like, because I knew I was going into this role for probably a month before I actually was doing it. And so if in that month I could have been uploading scenarios and actually practicing more like real world feeling scenarios rather than only taking in knowledge, if I could have paired those two, I think that would have been really helpful in getting me that head start. Honestly, it would be helpful now if I would practice more time role playing. Most of it is just I don't do it because I'm lazy, to be honest with you. I think it'd be helpful if I did more of it. I just haven't had it, so.
But having that feedback loop of getting the insights after, the real world conversations, has been helpful to, like, develop this skill of sales. So one question I have for you on this idea of sales, and then this other idea of your work with Knisley Business, like, how do you think about the things you're learning and how they apply as a skill to the rest of your life and career?
I love that question. I love that question. Yeah, so I talked to you a little bit about this the other day, but I was in like a conversation with one of my friends, and he was like opening up to me about some like hard stuff in his life. Um, and I wanting to be a caring and sympathetic person was trying to listen to him and hear out like his problems, and um, I had advice that I wanted to give. Um, but I was like, the skills that I've learned in sales and from Sales Coach Pro is that when someone is describing an issue to you, you don't just immediately prescribe a problem or prescribe a solution. It takes time to really listen and really understand someone's position and scenario before they're actually even ready to hear a solution. Because we as people, we want to be heard and we want to feel cared for. And solutions are part of what makes us feel cared for, but it's not most of what makes us feel cared for. Most of what is really crucial to feeling like someone cares about you is having them listen to you. And I think like that skill is something that I'm really learning with sales and with Sales Coach Pro, that directly applies to like a, a deeper part of life that is like loving and caring for people and serving them. Much, much broader than just making money on a doorstep. And that's really inspiring because that's where you can find a lot of purpose in your life beyond just making money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. That is, so it perfectly maps to like the ethos that I carry. And we've had these conversations before. This idea that sales is the skill that unlocks the life of freedom and opportunity that you want. But that isn't just on the money side, like you said, it's on your relationships. It's on how you can show up, how you can actively listen, how you can care for someone. And we realize that sales is just, it's every aspect of our life, whether we're selling trash service or whether we're selling friendship and connection. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So you said that you haven't done too much on the role playing side, but I am curious, like, of the experience that you've had with it, like how do you see it as having like either prepared you for the conversations you've had or just like helped in general, like to be able to maybe get through some nerves or to be able to just like see what it's like to have a sales conversation?
Sure. Something with the role playing that has been really helpful is there was a specific discussion that came up with another salesman in Nisley Brothers who doesn't do door to door. He's more in charge of like the commercial stuff, and so our roles look a little different, but there's definitely crossover. And he had given kind of a piece of advice to basically when someone is considering like switching their trash service, usually what it entails is at some point they're going to call the company they're currently with and try to cancel. And so his advice was like, since they're going to call this other company, you should probably prepare them for what that conversation is going to look like by telling them, hey, likely they're going to match our price or they're going to offer you something. And basically like get them ready for that conversation, even as they're signing up for your service, just to make sure that they don't pull out of the deal, basically. And I was like, it felt awkward to try to like, after someone said that they wanted to buy, to try to like almost keep on selling, like, and try to like, I don't know. It felt weird and I was kind of uncertain about the advice. And so I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'm going to put this exact scenario into Sales Coach. I'm going to talk them into the sale, and then I'm going to talk them through what their conversation is going to look like and why they should still buy, in spite of whatever their conversation looks like with their current provider. And so in that scenario, I was able to run like I had a specific sales question. What should I do in this moment? And instead of just like kind of waiting till it pops up and just like troubleshooting it across, 20 times that it comes up, instead of just troubleshooting, I was able to like specifically practice this scenario and then get like paragraphs of detailed reasons for every step that I should be taking. And Sales Coach in that scenario was like, this is basically just selling past the close. You should be affirming their purchase, and affirming the reasons that they're buying, instead of like trying to continue to convince them that it's going to be worth it, even in spite of other offers they might receive. And so it was really helpful for me in that moment to kind of like, I guess, test other advice that I was receiving by plugging it into the app.
I love the specificity that you were able to go in and get something like personalized, not just to you, but like the situation that you were about to walk into, and how, some guidance and support to like either make that work or to adjust your strategy in order to be more effective.
Totally.
Did you see that then in the real world when you went out and tried it? What did that look like?
Yeah, basically I have pretty much just applied that. I pretty much never bring up what their conversation with the other company is going to look like, except for specific scenarios. His advice was not actually totally wrong, especially for his role, because in his role, the customer's almost never signing up before they talk to the other company. Whereas in my position, they're usually signing up before they talk to the other company. And if they haven't signed up yet, often they do need some preparation for what that conversation is going to look like, because often they'll kind of back out, or they'll get cold feet, or they're okay enough with the other offer that they've received that they don't feel like switching. And so it's not always the wrong advice. But basically I've applied it, whereas like if they've agreed to sign up, I don't bring it up. I'm just like, I just try to affirm their decision, walk them through it as smooth as possible. If they back out later, they back out later. And they almost never do. Now, if I don't get them to actually sign up and they're like, I got to talk to the other company first, then I do actually normally say, hey, there is a chance that they're going to try to price match our price, and then try to give them some reasons that it may be worth switching even in spite of that.
That's cool. So with that idea of specificity and the ability to get like feedback and to kind of understand this scenario versus like this scenario and what that actually looks like. You had said previously that you were preparing for this role by consuming knowledge, right? So by reading books, I'm assuming like watching YouTube videos, maybe trying to do a little bit of this with ChatGPT. How does it feel? Like, how do you think about the difference between like consuming knowledge and then either executing, whether that's actually on the doorstep or role playing specific scenarios in Sales Coach Pro? How do you see them working together and also being different?
Yeah. I think books specifically they're really crucial for learning a role like sales. But they definitely are like broader application. They teach principles more than specific strategies, I think. And so like, while a book can teach you like a principle about like, say like hospitality and generosity in a sales process, it can be really good for that. I think books are a lot worse at specific application. Whereas in Sales Coach Pro, you can take principles that you're learning, and then actually real time use these principles and see how it plays out, and and you can actually practice what it looks like to really like speak those things that you're learning, basically.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. So let's say you're describing Sales Coach Pro, and maybe you've done this to other reps in like the Nicely world, or like other folks maybe that you're just meeting. How do you describe what it is and what it does?
Yeah. Great question. And I have been. There's a new salesman at Nicely Brothers he's going to be more on the commercial side. And I was like, dude, get Sales Coach Pro. Sales Coach Pro is awesome. It is like so crucial learning. And I don't know if you will. I don't know if he's sold yet, but I'm gonna keep trying. I described it to him as an AI sales coach. And so more what I've put the emphasis on when I'm like telling other people about it is more the side that I've used, because that's what's worked a little bit better for me, because I can learn on the job, and like, I don't have to cut out time apart from the job. I can actually be learning like between a sale, I can say, oh yeah, I did that wrong. I like this part. This was good. I'm going to keep that. So I describe it as it's an AI sales coach. You can record live transcripts, put that into this AI sales coach, and it's basically going to give you advice on things you did right, things you did wrong, ways that you can improve. And then you can also do live role play where you can put in, okay, here's the kind of situation I'm in. Here's the kind of person I'm selling to. Here's even maybe a specific problem I have. And you can actually have like a real world conversation and get ready for what that's going to be like so that you're not practicing on someone real and potentially losing a sale.
I love it. Well, if you ever want to get on a tandem call with that new guy, and we'll get him set up on there with the Isley Bros playbook that you're creating. Although he's on the commercial side, but tons of overlap, I'm sure. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. What about what's one thing with Sales Coach Pro that doesn't quite fit your like day to day? Is there anything that feels or like that it's missing? What's the honest assessment?
Okay, here's something. I just thought of this like literally right now. When it is an actual app, like a downloaded app, if I could open the app and hit record inside of the app, and have it transcribe a recording that like a conversation that I'm having, and directly like basically remove the step where I'm recording it on one app and then plugging in the transcript to the website. If I could do that all in the same place, just open up, record, and have it immediately analyze inside the app, that would be super convenient. I could even like put a widget like on my lock screen, just make it super convenient. Just like click, it's open, record. That would make the workflow a little bit smoother with like just real time jumping door to door, in and out of the truck. It would just save me a little bit of time there. That would be really cool. Overall though, it's really pretty seamless. It doesn't take a lot of time, and it's really pretty, it's quite easy to use. But that would make it even a little bit better. I think also I spend a lot of time on the road. And so I can role play while I'm driving, but I can't really be taught while I'm driving. So I would love if there was a way that I could like either listen, just listen to the different strengths and weaknesses, the different like here's what you should have said instead of this. If I could like listen to that back, or even if that was a conversation I could have with an AI, like if I could actually talk with the coach that's teaching me, that would be really cool too. So some of those things would make so I could learn on the go a little bit better, and make that workflow even a little bit smoother. But like overall, it's really a pretty seamless workflow.
So I love that idea of being able to chat with the coach about your results. I think that's something that we can definitely put on the roadmap, because that alone would be so cool. Whether you chat via actual like typing chat or you jump in and like have a conversation with the coach, that'd be really fun. Yeah. Okay. Have you tried role playing while you're going to and from places a little bit?
So as you're driving? Yeah. Mostly that was on like commutes, especially like the first couple days where I was pretty scared to get on the doorstep. I was like, I need a couple warm up reps here. I think though I want to start doing that more as a daily thing, because I can tell my first 3 to 5 conversations of the day are always a little bit more clunky than my last 3 to 5 conversations of the day. I guess, I don't know what all that is. Probably just confidence. I don't know, just kind of state of mind as the day progresses. I don't know what all it is. But that would be something I should start integrating, because I've noticed that it's a little sloppier at the beginning of the day, and I'm not quite as locked in.
You said at the beginning of the day?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically like you let your role plays in the morning be your sloppy ones to get kind of into it and get the ball rolling. And then you're hitting the ground running with that first door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I like that.